morning. We are back with some slides because, I really do like slides. I love creating, I love the power of words, and I am not a fan of good morning because it sounds like we're mourning. And why this broadcast is called Rise and Shine. Let's rise and shine, grand rising, or anything that's not mourning. That's the hope for this broadcast. And I'm glad to be back here with some words to share, with some sunlight to give. This is a space for really, at the end of the day, youth developers. What's a youth developer? It's any adult over 18. Actually, no. You could be in middle school. You could be in high school. If you understand that children are watching you, or they're following your every step, what you not just say, but what you do, and you understand that, then welcome. Welcome to Rise and Shine, and I call you a superstar because that's a great responsibility that I for sure don't take that lightly. For those who don't know me, my name is Patty Zito, and I've been in youth development for over 25 years. And really, by a calling, I was afraid of children, people. I'm telling you, I was afraid of children because children tell you the truth and they don't care whether it comes out nicely or not. They're like, I'm gonna say it. You need to fix your hair, or you got something up your nose. Freely. And I love that purity and that honesty. Or actually, rather, when that happened in 2000, I was scared, and I applied. Really, I went to the YMCA to apply to work as a receptionist for a gym. That's always been the whole environment of health and wellness have been my heart. And so I had grabbed, I'm speaking to my Generation X, youth developers from Generation X. You are especially my favorite people because we understand yellow pages, phone book, what is that called? Public phones? No. Public phones? Oh my, I even forgot what they're called, but hey guys, they used to be like this, like box with like a phone that you pick up and you dial numbers. And, oh wait, so you had to put a quarter in? You dial a number and you just wait. I guess people don't know what this is anymore because now we're like this, right? Anyway, my Gen X, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you're tuning in because you are my people. And I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time and finally giving permission to return freely without any pressure, really, to make this a big channel. I honestly, finally, I'm here where it doesn't matter who comes in, who listens to it. I used to share this a lot, and I will still share it in Facebook, but I will share it out with friends who really were not, or just maybe not ready to listen to it. And that's truly okay. And then it's just being more comfortable with that. So, with that in mind, welcome. I'm Patty Zito. Today, I'm going to be sharing about returning and returning to our power, returning to my power. And so that's what I could do best, is share from my own experience. I am currently a Spanish teacher and for a very magical private school. And I just realized that I didn't finish my story because about the phone book. But that's what happens. What do you call that? Squirrel brain. Yeah. So going back before I talk to you about an example from my students, I do want to go back to why I was afraid of children. And how I got into this journey. And so let's go back there. So back to the yellow pages. I went where it said gyms. I don't know if the word gym was there or fitness centers, most likely fitness center. And I call every single one of them one by one from home. I didn't have a cell phone back then. Did I have a cell phone in 2000? I did, but I feel like maybe it was a cell phone. Who knows? Anyway, went through it, and then I decided to go to all the gyms around me. I used to live at that time. I was living in Elmhurst. Shout out to my Queens people. And I was living with my mom, and I had returned from living in Florida. I'm back in Florida, by the way. I'm in Orlando. So I'm in New York. And it was a new beginning. I'm back. I'm back in New York. What am I going to do? Most of my experience have been in administrative assistant. So I want to be front desk at a fitness center. So let me call them. And I also went to all the ones around Flushing. Why Flushing? Well, because Flushing has a very special place in my heart. It was the only place where I live. Well, sorry, not anymore. At that time, Flushing was the only place where I lived more than 3 years, and the only school, junior high school, 189, shout out to 189, that I stayed for 3 years. To give you a bigger perspective, I went to 4 different elementary schools, I went to 4 different high schools, and I went to 4 different colleges. So you know why middle school is special and why middle school is really in my heart. So anyway, went through a whole bunch of gyms in Flushing because I love Flushing. Just love everything about it. I could close my eyes right now. And there's something so beautiful about that melting pot of the world where you see every single country, and every country has its own restaurant. It's just beautiful. If you're from Flushing, please you let them know what Flushing is all about. What Queens is all about, really. Queens, Flushing, Elmhurst, you name it. But if you're from Flushing, you could be specific here. Let them know what's special about Flushing. Anyway, I was given resumes to a lot of the fitness centers, and I had my last one, and it was Flushing YMCA with my very last resume. I went downstairs because at that time it was in the basement. No, sir, we're not hiring, but hey, I'll take your resume. I'll let somebody know. I was like, oh, great, thank you. So I gave the resume. And I went up the stairs, and I still remember, it still gives me goosebumps till this day. And it said summer camp hiring. What? Okay, hiring. I want to. Maybe they want an administrator in there. Yay! So I walked in, no resume, right? But I did have my USB. I feel no. I have 2 in here. I don't think that's the one I use, but anyway. So the at that time coordinator goes to me, do you have your resume? I said, no, but I have my USB. Would you be so kind to open it up and print my resume? She thought it was so bold and so funny that she goes, you know what? That was so bold. You got yourself an interview. And I was like, hey, it's meant to be. Woo! So long story short, I interviewed for administrative assistant for summer camp, just like an admin. And I know that in camp, it's like the lowest paying job at that time. $7 an hour. Now, you know, back in 2000, even still now, man, oh my gosh, it's just really crazy how much we pay youth developers. And we're going to change that. We are going to change that anyway. But I'm so excited. And when they had interviewed me for administrative assistant, one of their coordinators or team leaders said, "You want, yeah, what? Why don't we also interview for a counselor?" And my only experience was babysitting. That's it. And I was like, "Sure." So I did 2 interviews. So anyway, first day of camp, I'm coming as the admin. I'm walking in. And I go to the little assembly room, never forget it. That's where, if you know about Flushing YMCA, that assembly room used to be like where the dance, the workout classes had lots of mirrors, very big space, very, 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 very bright because it's an old building with the basement. Okay, anyway. Wow. Sorry, I just had a moment there. So anyway, walked in, super happy. I think I was gonna get I was giving out weather attendance. I was doing something. Billy comes in and throws me a shirt that I'm very upset that I threw away. Jimmy was really encouraging me to keep it. We had a flood back in Staten Island that destroyed basically everything that I had. And I could have kept it, but I was like, man, it smells really moldy, but threw it away. I have a picture. I'll probably show it somewhere in the comments one day. And throws me a shirt. I'm like, what's up, dude? Somebody just quit. You are now the counselor for kindergarten. Huh? Excuse me? And that is when we say, from there on, it's all history. Remember, I was afraid of children. What? The little ones? Man, they really have no sensors. They're really mean. But that was one of the best summers of my life. I was part of the geek camp because every camp had different names. We had sports camp and all that. Ours was geek camp. I was like, good, because I'm definitely a nerd and I love all about it. I'm very proud of it. So it was so good. It was so good because at that time, the movie Superstar came out. Shout out to Barb. I don't know if you're here, Barb. No, you're not here. Okay, all good. If you watch the replay, honestly, the name of our YouTube channel is called Why Superstars. The name of my company is called Why Superstars. Why? Because it's a question. Why, Patty, do you keep calling kids superstar? That was the year that I call every single camper, whether geek camp, sports camp, whatever camp, I call every child a superstar. And colleagues, parents, why are you calling my kids superstar? And I was like, because they are. That's our little logo. Why superstars? Because they are. That's it. They're stars. Sorry to tell you otherwise. I'm sticking to it. I don't know why at that time I didn't. All I knew that I was called to call the youth superstars. This is 2000. Now, the name Why Superstars came in 2004, even before I opened or began the LLC. And that is the story of the beginning and of my journey in youth development, where I went from becoming just a counselor to a group leader. I was a specialist, and then I went into the field of after school. And then I had a director who believed in me. Shout out to Tina. I've told the story several times, but Tina said, you know what? I think you're a really good fit for Springfield College, which at the time or before that, Springfield College used to be the YMCA professional school. Every leader of every YMCA in the United States and around the world went to that school to lead YMCAs. All I wanted to do is to get a degree, get my bachelor's, because I wanted to be an after-school director. And at that time, no one could be an after-school director or coordinator or whatever title without a bachelor's. One thing I missed to say, the reason why I was looking for this job is because I have dropped out of college. So I was finding myself in 2000. I had returned from living in Miami, go to FIU, back to New York, where I was like, I'm no longer doing college. Like, that's not my thing. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But when Tina sat down with me It's like, you want to be my director? You want to come back and be a director for the Y? And I was like, yes, yes. Where do I sign? What do I need to do? And at that time, I was going to Queens College. Where's Ron? Queens College. And I was in 2004 going to Queens College to become a physical education teacher. Coaches that I know now. Yeah, you didn't know that, right? Yeah. And took a lot of biology about the body. I mean, all of it, right? But it was really short. And I was like, in Queens College at that time, I had given me my graduation for 2008 because, I had dropped out for like 4 years. And I was like, 2008, to get a degree. But when Tina told me you should go to Springfield College and go check it out, so I drove 3 hours to Massachusetts. And the director of the department that she had told me, which is youth development, was not there. Again, I really should have called, but when I'm all in, okay? So I just like drove like a crazy nut. And I was like, I'm gonna take a piece of paper, I'm gonna write her a letter and put it under her office. That's Dr. Joel, Susan Joel. Shout out to an amazing soul. And I was like, hey, hi, I'm from New York. At that time, also because, I had dropped out of school for like 4 years. I was 28. I'm 28 years old. I'm ready to get back to college. I have all these credits because, like I mentioned, I had dropped out, but I did have credits from FIU. I had credits from Miami-Dade. I have credits from Queens College. I have all these credits. And all I want to do is work with the youth. I was so determined. And Monday, she sends me an email that I have it in my AOL. Remember AOL? My AOL email. Oh gosh, I wonder if I could recover it. Maybe I could. So she emailed me back saying, listen, send me your transcript or something like that. And I had sent it to her. And she goes, look, according to that, you can graduate 2005. 2008, 2005. There was like no arguing that I was going to pack my bags and go. And she told me all about, I guess she might have given me the link to what youth development was all about. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Long story short, pack my bags, say goodbye to everything. I was part of a big church. I was like, guys, peace, because I have a mission. Oh, does the peace give me balloons? Peace. Okay, now it doesn't do it. Anyway, I have a mission and I'm going. And I did. And everybody thought it was crazy and insane. But because I have so many credits, I really only had about 3 to 4 semesters in there to get my bachelor's. And the experience there was more than magical because I was really basically to go and train to become a CEO of a YMCA. Forget being a director for an after school. After graduation, my mentor of the YMCA was Paul Katz, and he's like, do not take that role. Do not go as a after school coordinator or any of that, because you need to do an entry level as either youth and family director or some director in the branch. And of course, I didn't listen. Because my whole focus was after school. That's my heart. And I knew that after school has always been my heart, because I've had the experience of really connecting with the youth. Even though I only had them for 3 hours, it was a different environment. It was an open heart. It was in a classroom setting. It was circles. It was games. It was positive reinforcement. It was really seeing the child as a whole. It wasn't academics, but it was integrating academics during doing all the fun things. So I was already 28. I was focused. And I wanted to take it. And I don't regret that, because I really did feel called to get my butt in after school. as a coordinator, as a director with my degree. And I had the great pleasure, because whenever you go to a school that's very focused, well, the network is really amazing. I met a wonderful soul, shout out to Tamia Tyler, who I met in one of the conferences. Because when I was in Springfield, I went to Canada twice. I traveled to, like, I don't know how many expos that we were exposed to as students, in the whole YMCA world. So I knew people in Canada, I knew people from a whole bunch of states. And she goes, "Hey, listen, here's my card. When you graduate, call me." Or, yeah, call me, email me. So after graduation, 2005, "Hi, Tamia, remember me?" Because we used to travel a lot with like our Springfield shirts, Springfield College shirts. We were a little snobby, but anyway, thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you. You taught me a lot. Um, in a sense of like walking, stepping in the room, owning the room, and knowing who you are, basically. So thank you, Paul. So email her. I was like, "I graduated. You got something?" And like within 5 minutes, no joke, somebody emailed me from Staten Island. "Hey, I just got your resume from," because at that time, Tamia was working for the association in YMCA in Manhattan. So when you get an email from that kind of contact, you respond back. So all that to say, "Hey, you want to come for an interview?" Went through a whole process. Guys, you have to go through a whole process, 3 interviews. Anyway, I got the job and then moved to Staten Island. And from there, and that's 2005, that I began my journey as a leader. And very intense leader, very like, this is the way. So I've learned so much. I brought so much, and I learned a lot from failure. And I'm so comfortable saying that, and I continue to say that to my children now. I've shared that story of failing all since that moment, because I believe that we can learn so much from our failures, right? And that's such a strong word that people are so afraid. It just means it didn't work out. What's the lesson? Do it again. And it's been a journey, because I went from that to working for another nonprofit, still in after school, still running summer camps, still running holiday camps as director. And then again, Tamia came back to my life. I saw her in one of the events, and then I worked for her in Jersey, and this time in a bigger capacity, where I was overseeing several summer camps. And then she led me to another YMCA, shout out to Tamia, where I was overseeing 2 branches of after schools and summer camps and leading leaders. And it was an epic experience, just continuing to doing my best and understanding when you're trusted with those little 10 kids in 2000, you will be trusted with more as you continue to grow, as you are open to learning from your mistakes. Because this is how people get stuck, my friends. Leave a comment if you agree with that, because that's what I look for. I look for people who understand their responsibility and are open to that. And I tell kids now, it actually humility, because I was like, what's humility in graders? Humility is the comfortability to ask for help. Like, actually, when you're humble, you're super confident. They're like, I didn't understand. I was like, because when you're so confident about who you are and what you bring to the table, you're not God. You're not supposed to know everything, sorry. Then when you don't know something, you're comfortable saying, hey, tell me more. How do I learn that? Right? And by asking, by staying curious, by constantly saying, well, how do you do that? Teach me how to do this. Teach me how to Dougie. Just kidding. Then you know more. And that's the power of humility, in my opinion. And that's what I share. And that's what led me to move up the ladders in this field. And at that time, let's fast forward. This is 2015. At that time, I was really just really called to start Y Superstars, like my own thing, because there was some friction, like I've never aligned. Again, why are you calling people superstars? Why? They didn't understand, and that was okay. So that like why led me to create my own thing. And I was like, it's time. And with Y Superstars that started in 2015, it's been a journey. But anyway, that's for another time, because what I wanted to share as I brought all this conversation to the lesson of this week with my children, I think I'm just going to leave it right there on the humility one. There's more. I learn from my students every single day, and I got myself, it's a little too far, I'm in the high chair, I'll show it later. I have a little black book where I take notes of what works, what doesn't work, what I need to do more of, and what I need to do less of as a teacher. And it's revelation after revelation, weekly reflections that I take, because I do believe that children teaches us. And if you are a teacher that thinks that you're here and kids are here, you may be missing out on a lot. But if you are a teacher who understands that you do learn, shout out to so many teachers who are amazing at this school at understanding that. It's why I call it a magical school. I mean, I have a magical principal and administrator who clearly understands, and assistant principals and other supportive administrators who really value the whole child, not just academics. So it's a really beautiful environment to be part of, where I have lots of flexibility and to say with my curriculum and anything that I do. So I'm very, very grateful to being here in this school. Hence, I did move, like I'm 2 minutes away from the school. That's how much I know God has let me hear from this whole journey. So I'll leave it. I was going to share something else, but I think the humility part of just like asking children and allowing them to ask me questions and just kind of like play the dance of their curiosity with my own examples really resonates. And I really appreciate curious questions or curious observations. I love that. And I want to continue to do that. Now, when I have my own agenda and I'm trying to hurry up to my own agenda, I can miss out on such curious questions. This week, I'm glad I didn't, to the question of like I need more help. I'm sorry. What? Humility? What do you mean? Really honest. What do you mean? Because I know in her mind, humility it means like meekness. It means soft, or whatever our world puts humility and meekness as weakness. And it's actually a strength. And actually, when we're not humble, when we're prideful, when we think we hit a certain ceiling, or I don't know, grand graduation, we never stop learning, by the way, right? Come on, put in the comments if you believe in that. Then you actually get stuck. You actually don't get to grow as much. You just stay right there. But when you're open to learning new things, trying new things, like green ham and eggs, green eggs and ham patty. Shout out to Dr. Seuss. Happy birthday on Monday. Then you continue to get better, and actually the more you know, more confident, and it goes on, and you become very much happy to ask questions. So anyway, I've gone along. This is a long show, and I have my duck over here. I'm doing the StreamYard, but I still get to play music and I get to share my screen, which I quite didn't do it. And my coffee, it's cold because I've been talking for 30 minutes. Goodness gracious, it's all good. Last week we had the challenge, but I'm not even going to touch it today. Let that be for next week. It is still Buenos Dias. Thank you for tuning in to the live or the replay. Thank you so much. Rise and shine. I will see you next Friday. And the commitment, the return, as I shared my the beginnings, so my beginnings in youth development. It's I'm returning to Fridays at 8:30 a.m. I'll see you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And Gen X, drop your comments. Goodbye.